Hi, Arnaki.
Hello.
How are you?
Alright, I want cornflakes.
Oh, I thought we were going to make a 3-ingredient recipe.
I know, I want cornflakes. The store is closed and I want a bowl of cornflakes, so you make me some cornflakes.
Oh, well, you know...
Well, my yaya would make me cornflakes.
Well, your yaya probably grew up when they couldn't get cornflakes in a box.
Well, of course.
Of course.
Yaya.
Yes. Well, we can make cornflakes.
But
Sometimes there are recipes that are just so time-consuming and a little bit more expensive and a little bit more trouble than they're worth.
well, you have the ingredients.
We have the ingredients, so for
and we
you,
have the time.
we kind of have the time.
Sort of.
Sort of. So
And the stores are closed.
for you and for the people watching, we are going to make 3-ingredient homemade cornflakes.
Homemade cornflakes.
And
just like Yaya used to make.
Just like Yaya used to make, and maybe we'll find out why Yaya was happy when boxed cornflakes came around.
Sneaky.
The first ingredient for cornflakes is, of course,
Corn.
corn or cornmeal. You can also use...
Yes, it's a meal for breakfast, or for lunch, or,
Yes,
or late night snack.
It's called cornmeal or corn flour. It also can be called polenta.
Polenta.
Yep. So for this, we just need a little dusting of cornmeal. Yep. It depends on how much you just want a bowl. Probably for a bowl of this, it's less than a 1/4 cup of cornmeal.
Ooh, that's a little bit of corn.
It's just a little tiny bit. Our next ingredient is
Water?
water.
I would have thought you put milk in it.
You put milk in it afterwards.
Oh, that's right.
Right, yes. But to get the cornmeal is very dried out, right?
Dried out?
It's what
So
they
you
do
wet
is
it.
so you wet it down, and what it does is it helps the cornmeal stick together so it makes flakes.
Wow.
So we're just going to use enough water to wet down the cornmeal while it's in the pan, and you'll
So
see
very
what I
little water, very little cornmeal.
Yep, and you'll see what I mean when we get to the instructions.
Okay.
And the final ingredient is
Sugar?
sugar.
So you make a frosted cornflake.
They're not really frosted. No. Cornmeal or polenta, it has very little taste all by itself. So we add a little bit of sugar, Yep, just to bring out that.
A little of all the ingredients.
A little,
not a lot of anything.
Little tiny bit. We're just making one bowl of cornflakes. This will just make it taste like sweet corn. You could also, if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of vanilla.
Vanilla?
Yep, you could add probably a little touch of honey.
Honey?
Or even a little teeny tiny bit of salt, depending on what...
If you like it savory.
If you like it more savory. So again, this is just a pinch right on top.
A pinch.
Now, I hope that you have some time.
Sure.
Because we are going...
I have nothing to do.
Well, good, because we are going to make...
I'll just sit here counting myself.
We're going to make one bowl of cornflakes.
One bowl.
We're going to start off with a non-stick pan. This is just dry. I'm not adding anything to the bottom of it. I'm going to start by putting a very, very thin layer of cornmeal right on the bottom of this pan. And again, it should just barely cover the bottom of the pan. Now I'm just going to add a tiny amount of water to all sides of the pan. Just enough to wet down the cornmeal. And I'm going to mix this all together. On top of this very, very flat mixture of cornmeal and water, I'm just going to sprinkle a small amount of sugar. This is just to give a little bit of sweetness to this, because otherwise it's just going to taste like crispy cornmeal. If you don't care about any sweetness in your cereal, you don't have to do this step. Now we're just going to let this cook until the cornmeal and the water, until all of the water has evaporated off. Eventually what will start to happen is everything will start pulling apart, and that's when you're starting to get the flakes. And you can start flipping them over to dry them out on the other side as well. Okay, these ones are all dried out. I'm going to do the next batch. As you see, this is not a fast recipe, and it's probably not an economical recipe, but it is one that allows you to make cornflakes all by yourself.
940,652.
Arnaki,
What?
I'm finally done.
Oh, I was going to go 940,600 and something free.
Well, by that time the store will be open and we can buy a whole box of cornflakes.
Ooh.
Okay, so these cornflakes, this took me 2 pans.
2 pans?
And, I would say probably about 35 minutes to put
35
together.
minutes.
Now, you could do this in
It's amazing I counted that high enough.
Yeah, so it doesn't cost a lot of money. Cornmeal costs very little. Sugar, the amount of ingredients that you use won't cost you very much, but it'll cost you a lot of time.
Right.
And if you're going to make a bowl of cornflakes, I mean, they look just like regular cornflakes. They look pretty good. The bowl looks pretty good. But all of that effort to get this little amount of cornflakes. And do you want to... What do you think? They're crunchy.
Crunchy.
They're sweet.
They're sweet.
What do they taste like?
Corn.
Cornflakes. So
Cornflakes.
They're
Cereal.
cornflakes. Cornflakes. Well, at least Arnaki likes them. Well, cornflakes are something that have been perfected by the cereal companies, and they take a lot less time to make if you make them out of the box. You could try this
They
in the...
streamline.
Yep, you could. Ooh, you've got a lot of cornflakes all over your fur. You could streamline this process by putting this into the oven, but getting them thin enough and making sure you have a nice thin flat layer takes a long time, and then it also takes a long time to dry out in the oven. A pan works a lot faster, believe it or not, but wasn't fast at all, was it?
No,
not at all.
But
So
they are tasty.
they are tasty. They taste like cornflakes. Well, how did you enjoy that?
Oh, that was very good.
It was very good. You know what else it was?
What?
The last bowl of homemade cornflakes I will ever make you.
Oh. Well,
Now-
in that case, I want a bowl of frosted shredded wheat.
Oh my goodness, that would
Yes.
probably take a lot of time.
We'll get
well,
on that.
so this was a recipe not to really to show you. If you want to try it, definitely try it out for yourself. It's always worthwhile to see if you can make your own versions of foods that you get that are processed. Cornflakes themselves by the cereal companies are not all that processed. There aren't that many ingredients. They're usually pretty natural, and it's a lot easier than making them yourselves. Did you enjoy learning how to make cornflakes at home?
Yes, I had a wonderful nap.
Well, well, if you had a wonderful nap, or if you watched the whole thing, what can people do to help?
They can subscribe.
If you subscribe, you can watch us make recipes. We make a recipe every Thursday. We missed a couple because we didn't have a stove,
And someone was sick.
and I was a little bit sick too. But what else can people do?
They can comment on the thing below.
Yeah, you can leave a comment down below. Let us know what kind of recipes you'd like us to try. Please, please, please not cereal, because that can take a long time.
Frosted shredded wheat.
Frosted shredded wheat will be the next one, but probably not for a long time. Or you can share these videos if you share it on Facebook, Twitter, or just tell people about this. It really helps us out. So I hope that you had a good time. Until next time,
Bye bye.
bye-bye.
950,652. 900 and... I forgot what I said.
Let's do that again. Okay. Okay. Are you glad you washed the kitchen floor? It's all over. You're going to be picking that out of his fur forever. I think that Arnaki needs a shampoo. All right.